Alright, so I'm in the bathroom. I have just gotten out of the shower. I've done my makeup, and I just thought I would show you the products that I've been using on my hair. I'd seen a couple tutorials on Instagram. Sorry if you hear rattling, this baby. I've seen a couple of videos from people that I follow that are hair people on Instagram of products to use for kind of air drying. And in the summer, when it gets to be upper 80s and low 90s, I just can't be bothered with a hair dryer. So the products that they shared were a little more high end, so I kind of tried to replicate the same thing but with drugstore. This one actually isn't drugstore, but it's not too expensive. I've mentioned this before. It is the Verb Ghost Oil. This is really good for like controlling frizz. I use this anyway, like if I'm just doing my hair straight or with a curling iron, but I've been putting a little bit of this. And then I really like this brand. It is drugstore Heritage. I use their purple shampoo and their purple conditioner. I also use their a different conditioner of theirs for my daughter. So I've been doing like 3 pumps for one side, 3 pumps for the other. And it is a Have It All curl enhancing foam. And I do like that it is cleaner. I'm sure, you know, it's free of that list of things, which is good enough for me. The last one I've used one time, and I'm not sure how I feel about it. The brand is Odell, and it is an air dry styler. So it's more of like almost like a gel. And the day that I used it, I felt like it gave me a little bit of like a crunch. So I'm not writing it off, but today I only used the oil and the mousse. So it's not gonna look curly. It'll just be kind of like just a wave. I will, you know, maybe later on in the day, if I'm going somewhere, I'll touch it up with a curling iron, or the next day I might touch it up with a curling iron. But as far as heat styling, that's really all I'm doing this summer. I'm not really gonna be doing much hair drying. I know a lot of people use a diffuser on the hair dryer, and I'm sure I would get more of a curl pattern instead of a wave if I did that. However, that would defeat the purpose of trying to air dry. So, and that would mean me having to purchase a new hair dryer. Hey! So anyway, that's what I've been doing for my hair. Today's kind of an interesting day. So it's just been me and the baby because my older two have been camping with my parents. They've been camping with grandparents and cousins for the past 2 days. So I'm actually headed to the campsite. I'm gonna take them lunch and hang out there for a little bit. I have Bible study tonight. Tonight is our final study through the book of Romans. And everybody's supposed to just kind of bring something. I think I have everything to make cinnamon bun cake. Is that what it's called? Yeah, cinnamon bun cake. So I'm gonna double check. I think I have all the ingredients for that. This morning we made some muffins. I've been trying to work on some diet stuff with the baby and just kind of some things that we're going through, like inflammation wise. So I don't know. I think I'm trying to course correct. Like, I've done so much of just giving him pinches of whatever we have had, which has been, you know, gluten and dairy and sugar and all of the things. And I think trying to back off and do more whole foods is hard, because who's going to want, you know, peaches and apples and broccoli when you've been giving them, you know, pinches of banana bread. So anyway, I did want to make something that was sort of an in-between. So these muffins have no sugar, they have no flour. They are black bean muffins, but they have cocoa powder in them, and then they're sweetened with maple syrup. So that went well. I made little mini ones this morning, and he actually really loved them. So those are in the fridge. I've cleaned up from that. I unloaded and reloaded the dishwasher. I need to do some laundry, but that's just gonna have to wait until later because he's gonna nap in the car. I've got to stop and get gas. I've got to get the lunch and then go meet everybody at the campsite.
So on this particular night, we had Bible study, and sometimes we will kind of bring different items to share with the group. So I made this honey bun cake. This is something that I've made before. It starts with a yellow cake mix. You add in, your usual ingredients, and then the difference is that you make this cinnamon sugar layer. So you do cake mix and then the cinnamon sugar layer, and then you repeat that. So you've got these 2 layers of alternating consistencies, and then you take your knife and you swirl. I probably over swirled mine a little bit. I got a little carried away because it was just a lot of fun. But this cake is always delicious. It will make your house smell wonderful, and I just think that cinnamon is such a comforting flavor. So we've got it all swirled, putting it in the oven, and here it is. You can see that my glaze that I put on top kind of ended up getting stuck to the foil pan, but regardless, it ended up being a delicious part of our spread.
All right, it is several days later. This is quite literally how I woke up. I have not put any effort into my appearance today, but I just got in from doing some garden work, have my overalls on, and I thought I would round out this video by finally starting on a little project that I have maybe mentioned before and I've been wanting to do for a little bit. So I cook pretty often. If it's a season that has felt rough or hard, then a lot of times it's just kind of like a fend for yourself, throw things together. But when I am feeling my best, when I am my best self, when I feel like I'm on top of things, I usually make dinner, I would say 4 to 5 nights a week. Definitely an overcast day. The sun keeps kind of coming and going. Our schedule works best if I can make dinner on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday for sure. And then that way, whenever I work on Thursdays, that sets me up to have leftovers. And then going into the weekend, if I cook, that's fine. If we're with friends or going out or whatever, that's also fine. So that being said, I cook a lot. I use recipes a lot, and I do have cookbooks, but primarily what I use are recipes from the internet, but I really dislike having to read them from my phone. So I found this binder at a yard sale. I think I gave maybe $1/4 for it. It has some tabs and folders already included. So what I've been wanting to do for a while is just simply put my printed recipes in page protectors and then put them in this binder. So I'm just going to spend a little time doing that and talk to you as I round out this video. So maybe I'll just go through and just show you the ones that I have printed. This is not, an exhaustive list by any means of what I make. I'm actually out of printer ink, so I need to purchase some of that. But these are the ones that I've made more than once that get in the rotation again and again. These are stuffed bagel balls. They are a recipe from Skinny Taste. These sourdough strawberry muffins, I think I actually printed them twice, so one of these can go to recycle. I have made these, I featured them in one of my recent videos. I have made these like 3 times. I think that they are really good. They've got white chocolate chips in them. They have a little bit of like a sourdough yeasty taste, so if you don't like that, then you might not like these. I really like them. The Lazy Genius granola, it's not mentioned up here, but it's her best granola ever. I have made one change to this though. I don't really like using vegetable oil, and I've found out that you can use coconut oil and it works just as well, so little change there. Taco seasoning. I don't buy taco seasoning. I make my own. This is the Pioneer Woman recipe, and I pretty much make it exactly as it says. If you have somebody who doesn't like spice at all, I would just leave off the crushed red pepper. And I figured out by reading her blog, it tells you how to make it in bulk, but it doesn't tell you how much to use, from what I could see, how much to use if you make it in bulk. Use 2 tablespoons. I wrote that up at the top. In her blog, she says, a packet is approximately 2 tablespoons of mix. These egg bites are like the sous vide egg bites from Starbucks. What I love about this and recipes like this, that's an egg type of dish, is you can really cater it to your taste with the type of cheese you use, the type of add-ins that you use. These are for bacon and Gruyere, which I'm sure would be delicious. I've always done Swiss, and then sometimes I'll do bacon, sausage, ham. The last few times it's just been the eggs, cottage cheese, and cheese. Really good recipe. I follow this one exactly. You put a pan of water in the oven and it helps to kind of steam the eggs and give them that nice texture. Butter chicken meatballs. This is a recipe that I found whenever I was doing Whole30, and I follow this except for I don't make the meatballs. I just cut up pieces of chicken and I brown them in olive oil and salt and pepper. And then also, instead of ghee, I just use butter because I'm not on Whole30 right now and ghee is quite expensive. But other than that, I follow it to a T. And then sometimes at the end, I will drain and rinse a can of chickpeas and put them in there. That adds bulk and protein. Sometimes I've even done it as a vegetarian meal and not even done the chicken. I've just made the sauce and added the chickpeas. Mexican potatoes. I really like the Clean Eating couple. I've used several of their recipes. I make this exactly as it says, except for I leave off the cinnamon. You can taste the cinnamon, so if you don't mind that, you might like it. I choose to leave it out, but this makes a really great side dish. It says bake for 25 minutes, flip, and then bake an additional 15 to 20. This one, maybe it's just my oven, but I have to watch it because if I leave it the amount of time it says, they will be burned. Is this boring? Maybe this is boring. All right, slow cooker beef and broccoli. This one is delicious. I first made this on Christmas Eve. We have a Christmas Eve service and then we don't really have a family meal after that. So I had this in the crock pot and we came home and had it over rice, and it was just a very quick and easy meal. Bonus tip, if you have somebody in your house who is on the pickier side or doesn't like broccoli, if you leave the broccoli in there longer than it says, because maybe like us, you had to leave for an event and come back, the broccoli sort of just disintegrates. It's there, but it's not the normal broccoli color and texture. And I found that my non-broccoli eaters ate it that way. This is from the recipecritic.com, by the way. Pumpkin chocolate chip muffins. This one is not listed online. This was maybe from the back of some sort of package. I don't know. This was from a friend at church, and these are my favorite. And I do what it says, where it says do part oil and part applesauce. That kind of cuts down on your oil, makes it a little healthier. No boil mac and cheese. This is the countrycook.net. I haven't made this, but I think this was one that my sisters had made for a holiday gathering, and great easy prep if you're feeding a crowd. This is called 1 hour bread. I got this recipe from Hillary from Old World Home. I think it's originally from sugardishme.com. Good quick and easy bread. Easy hibachi steak with fried rice. This is one of those recipes. It's been well loved. It takes some prep. It takes a lot of ingredients, but if you really want to knock people's socks off with good food that tastes like you got it from a restaurant but you made it, this is a good one. Low fat chocolate mug cake. This is what I make if it's late at night and I want a snack that's comforting. I will make the low fat mug cake and I will top it with vanilla ice cream. It is delicious. I follow it as it says. My sweetener choice, I just use regular sugar. And where it says 2 tablespoons of almond milk or skim milk, I use almond milk. Where it says butter or coconut oil, I use coconut oil. And it is, I think, really tasty. The best winning chili recipe. This is from Sugar Spun Run. She also has great cheesecake recipes, by the way, but this is one that I really love, and I've made it several times. It's my son's favorite. Roasted chicken, butternut squash, and guacamole bowls. This is foodiecrush.com. If you like bowls, this is a good one. And the butternut squash you can easily sub out for sweet potatoes. In fact, I most often use sweet potatoes. Sourdough croissant bread. I know the sourdough ones are a little more niche because not everybody has sourdough starter. If you like a buttery bread, this is delicious. I've mentioned it in one of my recent videos. All right, next is a sausage crescent roll breakfast casserole. Another one of my son's favorites. Super easy. And on the back of that, McGriddle bites. Both of these you're browning sausage and adding different ingredients. This one I bake in muffin tins. Delicious banana bread recipe from a sweet friend at church. I make it exactly as it says. It says the pecans are optional. I actually don't add the pecans, but it would be excellent either way. Breakfast cookies. I make these, but I make them sort of in like energy ball form. This is from iheartnaptime.net. Usually when I make this, I go ahead and double it and make it into little balls and freeze them just for a short while so they firm up. These have been a favorite snack for vacation, for the pool, for splash pad, anything like that. And then the last one here is cilantro lime chicken. I mentioned this. I did a whole video on making food kind of like DIY Chipotle at home, and this is the chicken that I make. It really is just a great chicken recipe, and it says thighs. I've done thighs, but most of the time I just do chicken breast and cut it into reasonable sized pieces. All right, so let's get to work putting these in page protectors and getting them in my binder.
This project ended up being something that I really enjoyed. I ended up running out of page protectors, and part of the ones I had were flimsy and I didn't want to use those. So I'm going to keep my eye out for some others. Office supplies are one thing that people don't often think to look for at yard sales, but I have found them to be a really good thing to keep my eye out for. So I will show you when I get this project all finished. Thank you guys so much for watching my video today. Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one.